It's episode 242 of the Cassius Morris Show. Thanks for tuning in to this brand new edition of the podcast. Shout out to everybody out there who's been showing love on the show lately, and specifically the social media posts that have been going out. A lot of love on the new format and sort of the new content that's been going out, so I'm definitely going to keep rolling with that. If you didn't notice, I'm in a different location. We're in a remote location. We're going to keep it secret. But all I want to let you guys know is that there are super big plans coming for myself in the show in the coming months. I'm making a couple different setups. I'm still trying to figure out the exact designs of what I'm going to do, but it's definitely going to be interesting. But there is a move in locations. The next episode of the show, 243, is going to be about the move and all the crazy stuff that's happened to me in the last 2 weeks. These last 2 weeks have probably been the most insane couple weeks of my life in the last couple of years, and that's saying something with COVID and all the insane stuff that's going on. Real quick, before I jump into anything, I just wanted to say I want to send my heartfelt support and well wishes to every family, every person out there who's been negatively affected by the current war that's going on. My support is with you. Listen, we got to keep business going. We got to put the show out for everybody who's waiting on it to, have a distraction during these times, who's not directly involved. But at the same time, I'm far from tone deaf, and I'm very much in tune with what's going on. So sending my love and support to everybody out there who's being affected, and stay safe out there, everybody. It's really important that you stay safe. But I will give you guys the full update as to what's all going on and what's been going on and why my thumb is fucked up, which I'm not going to show quite yet, on the next episode of the podcast. Real quick before we jump in, this episode of the show is brought to you by Manscaped, the number one men's grooming company in the world. And I got to tell you guys, these guys over at Manscaped have blown me away. They're the number one company I think I've ever tried when it comes to, people approach podcasts all the time. Hey, try this, try that, post this. And I don't really do it because it's never really anything that is of quality, the standard of quality that I'm looking for, it's usually, just not there. And these guys at Manscaped, they have one-upped themselves time after time after time. Their newest products are the Lawnmower 4.0. Now, this device is insane. It's a waterproof clipper. This thing is almost indestructible. It's got a light on it for precision. You can use it below the belt, but you can also use it for that chest hair. I don't know. Listen, I get the hairy arms, hairy shoulders. I'm a hairy motherfucker. It's the half Caribbean in me. I think it's coming out. It's got the blood flowing and shit. When I get out in the sun, it's a whole different thing. Make sure you go check out Manscaped for that lawnmower. And of course, they also have the Weed Whacker. My dudes who need this for the nose, the ears. Listen, I know it's embarrassing, but we got to take care of it. Get yourself that Manscaped Weed Whacker, and you can get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code CASS at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping with the promo code CASS at manscaped.com, and make sure you go delve into that. And I'll tell you guys, you will not be disappointed. Exciting episode today. I'm really happy to be joined by the one and only KK Downing. Of course, the leader of KK's Priest, the group that's storming America and really has been kicking ass on the charts. I mean, you read the YouTube comments, you read the reviews. People love KK's Priest. Now, KK Downing came on the show to talk about not only his current project, but of course, the days of Judas Priest, his feud with them, and all the different members. And I mean, it's been a long feud with many different layers. So, I mean, we talk about Rob Halford, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but we talk about a bunch of different members of that group and sort of the whole situation there. But we also talk about the good times, his fondest memories. And like I say, I'm not going to spoil too much, but you guys, I think, are really going to enjoy this. So without further ado, let's jump into my chat with KK Downing. So, how's it going, KK Downing?
Yeah, busy times, but man, busy.
Man, it seems like you haven't had a breather in months. I mean, I've seen you going with KK's Priest and all the interviews. I mean, talk to me about sort of what it's been like.
Yeah, it's been pretty manic. I was just saying to Jamie, some guys from a magazine flew all the way from Katowice in Spain to interview me, which was fantastic. They just flew here and flew back. Wow. So, lots of things going on, really. I keep myself busy trying to trying to find time to put new songs and recordings together, which I'm doing all the time anyway, and playing guitar and yeah, still doing plenty of promotion for the record. Really, it's been going fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the music is sounding great also. When you're making your songs, do you have a home studio or is there a studio that you like
Yeah,
to go to? You do. Okay.
yeah. I have a room upstairs and downstairs, so
Wow.
when I get a bit bored of the room upstairs, I'll move everything downstairs.
Okay. So you have, daytime, nighttime, you got, two different
Yeah,
studios.
I like it because when the room gets really messed up, if I move everything, then it gets tidy again for a while,
Right.
So I kind of move about, you know. Um, yeah, that's kind of the way I like to do it. Everything gets messed up, doesn't it? But if you move, it's like if you move house, you
Right.
put everything neat and tidy and start all over again. So I think that's good. So doing that twice a year, maybe go upstairs in the summer and downstairs in the winter, and
Kind
or
of
vice
transfer the
versa.
hurricane from room to room every once in a while.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy, but when it gets messy, instead of tidying it up, I just move everything out.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? It seems to be
Yep, yeah,
working.
yeah, because it gets a piece of paper with lyrics and cables with it, things being plugged in. So I just move and start again.
How often do you play guitar right now? And I mean, what's your relationship like with it? Because it can't be, is it still practicing at this point,
Yeah, I like to learn new things, and but that's kind of the last on the list things to do, really. But it's mainly song ideas and stuff like that. It's kind of non-stop, really. Um,
Mhm.
it's pretty good now. Like all of the onus is kind of has been on me, so it's kind of good, really. But now, obviously, with the next record, I'll be doing a lot more with AJ and Tony and Ripper,
Mhm.
So that's cool.
So, I mean, what's it like with that? Because, you're mentioning sort of like you're the spearhead of this operation. Is that a lot different from other groups?
Yeah, well, I think obviously me being a veteran now and of an age, kind of setting my ways and kind of working on the sermons of the sinner. I think that it was kind of really good. This new kind of freedom came
Mhm.
about where I was able to, I was instead of having to, obviously in the past working with Rob and Glenn, I had to like consider what they might favour and what they might like, and that doesn't apply here, So it's kind of
Right.
nice, that I'm able to be creative, and just go on autopilot.
Mm.
And if I think it's good, it kind of it goes, It's
Yeah.
cool.
And you obviously the guys they're sort of in for that and they're along for the ride with that, which must make it a pretty easy process.
Yeah, but like I say, on the second record, because the last record, it was all about getting things moving and everything
Mhm.
was going 90 miles an hour, and then the COVID hit, so uh, that all changed. We're still not out of the woods yet, so now, obviously, with the new record, we can just take stock and incorporate other people's ideas and make it more of a collaboration, which is really cool.
No doubt. You're also up for the Rock Hall, which is, of course, super, super exciting. I'm scratching my head at this, though. I mean, I think, you guys are the Rock Hall. I think I could speak for a lot of people sort of in the audience. I mean, what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
Yeah, you kind of blow hot and cold with it because when you think of the people that are still not in there, but you think of the people that are in there, there's a
Hmm.
bit of a conflict for me,
Yeah.
Um, you know, and it's all a bit weird, but there's certain awards that you can achieve in your lifetime, like a Grammy. I've got one. I've got
Hmm.
three nominations for Grammys, and as much as when all said and done about that situation, it's still kind of nice to have something in on the mantelpiece that you can look at, and hopefully you could pass it on and say, Tay was here, and 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 this lays claim to well, it's kind of something to look at, as opposed
Right.
to it, so these kind of accolades, I think it's better to have them than not to have them. I think, I suppose when you get later on in life, as I am, so with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, would I like to join the other people that are in there? I mean, great names, yes, but if it came down to it, I'm just as happy to sit out here with the other great names that are not there also, if that makes sense.
No, that makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, to the Grammys and different things like that. I wonder, how does it compare to actually get it, compared to how were hoping it would be? Because obviously, everyone starts somewhere. You were a young rock fan yourself at one point. How does the whole thing compare to sort of your expectations?
Yeah, well, like I say, I think the big thing for me is, and I don't know how it works really with the induction ceremony and all of that. Um, that's another thing, because you know, um, obviously there's going to be people there that are not going to be there. Um, which is all a bit kind of strange, obviously, with great drummer of the age. Dave Holland, he's no longer with us. He's passed away. And he will be a part of it. So I suppose it's all pretty much. I suppose it's quite an emotional kind of experience, really. But I think that it's something that I suppose it's a historical moment. So
Mm,
is there a comparison? I don't really know. I guess it's the big one, really. Um,
yeah.
so we'll see what happens, Cassius.
Yeah, I
We'll
guess we're
see.
gonna see what happens. I'm curious. Do you read much of the sort of things about you that are written online in terms of news?
Yeah, I catch some things here and there. Um, it's it's kind of difficult, really. It's kind of a difficult situation with current things that get drawn out and dragged out, and headlines, and lots of clickbaiting things and stuff like that. But all I can say is the fact that I'm open and honest, and I always call it the way that it is.
Hmm.
Um,
No, I would totally agree with that. I mean, were you caught by surprise by the recent Richie Faulkner quote about the 10-year-ness? Because I thought that was sort of, for me at least, that came out of left field. I'm not sure if you saw it.
yeah, I saw a bit of that, and so Richie's a good guy. I think he calls it the way that it is. Really, he tries to be open and honest as well, and you know, no issues at all there. I don't know what's going on. I sense a little bit of frustration, from him really, but I think he just wants what's best for the music and the fans, and I feel the same really. But it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, is it important for you that at some point everyone in the sort of Priest family is on good terms and maybe you could all get together and do like a retrospective show or even have you back in the band? I mean, is this important to you at all, or are you just so what you're doing that you're not thinking about that?
Well, the thing is, I've kind of voiced everything I have to really, and I think that really, I always thought that I would be able to step back into the band, obviously, um, and obviously that's never happened. The door's always been closed, so obviously, I'm up and running, and I really like Kelly's Priest, obviously Sermons of the Sinner, the new album, and I think there's a lot more to come. Cassius. You know, I mean, I think that the band's great, isn't it? You know, with Ripper on vocals
Killer.
and Tony on bass, who kicks ass. Everybody, he gets a lot of good comments, you know, and it's all good, you know.
Yeah.
Sean's amazing on drums, and obviously AJ. We're just looking to get out there now and playing some shows for everybody, and it's going to be a game changer when we do.
Yeah. I mean, how long has it been now? Over 2 years?
Yeah, just two
Man.
years really since we started the whole thing. So I think good things, positive things are happening with the pandemic. I think that's fair to say. You
Yeah.
know, even Australia is opening up now and stuff like that. So it's going to be good. Surely
Yeah.
by the
We're a
summer
bit
we're
behind
going
in Canada here, but we're getting there.
to. Yeah,
We're
yeah.
getting there.
Well, I think Australia was the horror story, and now obviously things in Canada. But it's all going to be good. All going to be good by the summer. I think we're back to, hopefully, be back to where we were. And yes, all the promoters out there start looking. KK's Priest, you know,
That's right.
some lengthy tours. I mean, Canada, you know, we've sold, you know, on an awful lot of records, you know, in Canada. So we want to come and see all the fans. We know it's a big metal stronghold,
Oh yeah.
and and it's a big territory from east to west or west to east. And I don't care
That's it.
which way we go, as long as we sweep it all the way through the beautiful Kananaskis country, and you know, and lots of fun memories. So
I can only imagine. I mean, we love you guys out here, and you know all the different sort of projects you've worked on. I'm wondering when you look back at your whole career retrospective, is there a specific guitar part that was the hardest for you to nail in the studio that you remember was really challenging to lay down?
um, not really. Can't really think of any
So it was
really.
a fairly easy process in the studio, with probably just letting it rip, and maybe obviously it comes naturally to you.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
You know, if you haven't honed your skills in the first 10 years, you know, you may as well kind of pack the suitcase and go home.
Fair enough, right? And
You
I mean,
know,
how many shows would you guys do back then? You guys would do so many.
oh, we did, we did an amazing amount of shows, really, when I think about it, you know, because when we used to go to North America, obviously, and Canada, we would be going non-stop for the best part of 6 months. I think we would do what they call the 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 primary venues, the prime venues, you know, the A-list venues, and then we
Right.
would have a break and then go back into the secondary markets, you
Hmm.
know, which were great as well. So
But that's a lot of touring.
I think we did 134 shows the one year, pretty much
Wow.
back to back with a 10-day break in the middle.
Wow. That
A lot of shows.
how do you keep yourself functioning? I mean, what are the little secrets that you found?
Well, you've got to be, for me, pretty sensible, you know, and and you need to get some rest. You know, you
Yeah,
need to be able to sleep. You
no
know,
doubt.
that's what you have to do. Um, you have to be pretty disciplined. You know, and I'm like everybody else. You know, you get off stage. I like to have some beers and chat to the girls, and you can go. You have to be careful. You go round the clock, but you've got to get some rest.
Yeah,
You know,
no
because
doubt.
it's not just the shows. You have to do interviews and before the show and after the show and meet and greets, and it gets pretty tricky. You know, you got to keep
Yeah.
yourself pretty fit.
Who in the world of rock on tour really gave you a run for your money when it came to the after parties? I mean, there must have been some insane nights,
Oh yeah, yeah, of course.
you know?
Yeah, most nights, you know,
Most nights.
we, you have to be careful to choose your support bands, or you know, otherwise it can get pretty crazy.
No
You know, and
doubt.
they can encourage you to do things that you probably shouldn't ought to be doing, like going into the small hours or going off piste with the venues for the after parties and stuff like that. But it's happened, you know.
It just comes with the territory. Looking at some of the big tours that are going on, it seems like there's groups are having never-ending farewell tours. I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on this whole concept?
Yeah, well, you can agree to call it a day as we did in 2010. We agreed to do a farewell tour. Um, but I suppose at the same time, knowing that that could go on for quite a long time,
Hmm.
backed by popular demand type of thing. But we were going to wrap it up, thinking that farewell tours could go on for at least a couple of years.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily a red flag if it goes for a long time, that because you got to say goodbye to a lot of people.
You do, yeah. Well, a world tour, a proper one, is a good 2 years, to cover all of the territories.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
I guess it takes a long time.
yeah,
In
yeah.
terms of obviously your man Rob Halford, what's the contact like lately? Just curious. Have you chatted with him and sort of how are things?
No, no. It's all a bit. It's all very strange, all very weird. It doesn't make sense. As I said before, Rob was out of the band for at least 12 years, and was invited back. But none of it makes sense to me, really. Um, what can I say? Obviously, 2010, they announced the fact that I'd retired from the band. Well, if that was the case, surely I should be allowed to come out of retirement if I chose to do so. If that was the only issue, you know.
Right.
So I think the best thing to do is all of the journalists in the world need to ask those guys what the situation is and what happened, because that's what needs to happen.
In terms of Tim Ripper Owens, definitely curious about just the working relationship with him because he seems like a guy that I'd really want in my corner.
Yeah, Tim's great. I mean, he's a true professional, and he's always great, isn't he? I mean, he's
Yeah.
always delivers the goods. When I know, no, not many people know it, but like in November 2019, when we did that show in the UK with Dave Ellison and Les Binks and that, I
Yep.
mean, Tim's voice was on the way over here. He said the voice is not good.
Mm,
He said because he'd been working it pretty hard. Um, I said, don't matter, Tim. Just get yourself over here. It's going to be fine. But his voice was, but the show was great. And,
yeah.
you know, and there's a couple of little places where people like me would notice, but, his performance was excellent. It really was. So
Yeah.
even when he's, only running on, half the cylinders, he's still a great vocalist. So he's a force to be reckoned with, and I'm really proud to have him, in the band, and it's going to be exceptional when we get out there and do some live shows.
Yeah, the whole group, it's like you guys are soldiers, you guys are just consummate professionals. What do you plan on doing, or what do you like to do when you are on tour, when you visit cities? Or do you like to look around and visit places, or do you kind of stay at the venue?
Well, depends on the schedule, really. The
Okay.
itinerary, it gets pretty hectic because sometimes when you can't possibly do what you'd like to do. Um, but yeah, obviously, if the schedule's not too tight, I'm definitely going to do some sightseeing. I've done lots in the past,
Right.
but you never know. At this time, I would definitely like to absorb as much as I possibly could and enjoy it.
100%. I think it's going to be great. And KK's Priest has been kicking ass all over the globe with the streams and the videos, and we're big fans. So just thanks for doing everything that you do, and we really
Yeah,
appreciate your time.
and a ton more coming your way real soon. So,
Awesome.
like I say, I'm happy to get another record under the belt, and then, you know, at some point this year, I'll be free to tour the world relentlessly, really, and cover every corner.
It's going to
You
be
know,
epic.
that we
Any
possibly can.
expectations for the record? Is there maybe like a number of tracks, anything that people could expect?
Just more of the same, really. You
Good.
know, and I can guarantee you, if it's not at least as good, you won't even get to hear it. You know,
There you go.
so it's going to be at least as good and better, and that's what's coming your way for sure.
Awesome. KK, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure, mate, and look forward to seeing you guys up there as soon as you can. And I hope to get all of that shit out the way. I see it on the news, and everybody's got some of the same going on. So let's get rid of all of that, you know, by the summer, and clear the way for some fantastic concerts.
Here, here. Well, listen, have a great time on the road and just keep rocking, man. Really appreciate you.
Okay, mate, you take care.
I want to give a huge shout out to KK Downing for joining me on this brand new episode of the podcast, and thank you for tuning into the show. You know, it was interesting to chat with him. He's a really cool guy. I think he has a fascinating perspective, and he seems to just have a different way of viewing things. You know, he's a very focused individual and just very passionate about the music. In my opinion, if it's not about the music, he doesn't care. And I think that is a good way to stay focused. That laser sharp precision focus is the only thing that's really going to get you to the top. And of course, Judas Priest, it's insane that they're even still around. And I mean, you know, we talk about a reunion. I would personally like to see a reunion. I think it would be great. I mean, I think it's a sad thing when these bands, they get to sort of their legacy days or heritage, whatever you want to call it. Like, just, you know, when they're reliving sort of what they've done in the legacies of their career. And when the members are alive and they refuse to actually work together, I think that's a really sad thing. It's one of those things that if you look back, when you're, you know, I hate to, obviously we all have an end of our lives. I hope that people aren't regretting this, you know, the grudges, because when you really form something that's meaningful with guys that become your brothers, even though there's things that happen, there's fights, there's arguments, there's, you know, all types of different things that can happen. That's why these guys compare it to a marriage, but it's deeper than a marriage. It's a bond, it's a brotherhood, and especially these guys like Kiss, like all 4 original members are alive. They created one of the most insane legacies in all of music. Black Sabbath, I mean, the stuff with Bill Ward. I just really hope these guys are not shortchanging themselves and the way that they look back when they really are done. I mean, I know Sabbath is done, but when they really are done, and to say, did I make a mistake? You know, I mean, you know, I can't speak on that. I can only speak in these situations as a fan. And as a fan, I would love to see these guys just reconcile and high five it out, whatever you want to call it. High five it out. That's not an expression, but just shake hands, play a couple tunes, and lay your legacy to rest in a classy way. I think that would be the best way to do it. Real quick, this episode was sponsored by Manscaped. And if you want to check out Manscaped, they got a whole line of products, from the Lawnmower 4.0, the waterproof clipper, which is for below the belt, but also the chest and shoulder area. Everywhere a man needs to shave, Manscaped has got you covered. In my opinion, they're the #1 grooming company for men, and you're going to want to check them out. They also have the Weed Whacker. That's for the nose hair, the ear hair. Listen, again, we don't got to run around telling everybody that this is what we need, but we got to get it figured out and keep it managed so that, you know, nobody else tells you. Would you rather look in the mirror and decide, or would you rather somebody tells you, hey man, you need a lawnmower, you need a weed whacker, you got to get this shit going? Manscaped.com, promo code CAST, save 20% off and free shipping. That's manscaped.com, promo code CAST, 20% off and free shipping. Thanks for tuning in to this episode, man. Sorry if I'm a little tired, a little low energy. Like I said, it has been the 2 weeks from hell, but I'm still here for you savages. I said I'm not going to let these guys down. I got a sick episode with a sick guest, and I wanted to get it to you guys, so I don't fuck around. I don't say, oh, I need my foam in the background, and no, fuck that. We're going to do it wherever. Listen, I would do it if I was outside in the woods. I would do it without the stand. I'd be sitting here caveman style, holding the shit, singing like fucking Frank Sinatra. Appreciate you guys for checking in. Make sure to hit my socials in the link below. Until next time, thanks for checking in. Rock on.